In this episode of How to Get Gladiator on a Resto Shaman, we are going to be discussing general Resto Shaman playstyle for 3v3. I was originally going to be discussing the top compositions for Resto Shamans during this episode as well. However, with all the changes happening, I'm going to save that for the next video once I've experimented with some different comps and fought them on the ladder. There are three main ways you can play Resto Shaman in Arena and have success with. Choosing the proper playstyle depends on your experience and what you feel most comfortable with in Arena. Every playstyle has its pros and cons, and it's up to you to find what works best with you and your Arena composition. Some Arena comps are expected to play a specific way, so it is entirely possible that you are comfortable with a specific playstyle and play it well. However, you won't find the most success because that comp you are playing does not encourage your type of gameplay. The three main ways to play Resto Shaman in Arena are as follows: the aggressive Shaman, the passive Shaman, and lastly, the defensive Shaman. The aggressive Shaman is a playstyle that focuses heavily on making individual plays such as pre-trembling fears, landing crucial kicks, and being extremely proactive with your cooldown choices. With this playstyle, you have to get comfortable avoiding CC without the presence of a pillar, or having very limited windows where you can successfully LOS CC or damage. This playstyle is chaotic because chances are you're going to be right in the middle of the action, leaving very little room for error and the possibility for enemy teams to take advantage of you. So here are some pros and cons of the aggressive Shaman playstyle. Quick games, being able to utilize your Shaman toolkit to its full potential. Since you're going to be up in the action, you're going to have to learn to use all of your Shaman abilities at every opportunity given to you. You won't necessarily have a pillar to LOS, so that means that it's even more important landing kicks, not missing grounding or tremor totems, and just being really proactive with your cooldown usage. You can learn what to do if games go off script and the situation gets hectic. With a really aggressive playstyle, games are going to be different every time, and you may find yourself getting into tricky situations, and how you get out of those situations is going to depend on you and how you decide to rotate your CDs in that specific scenario. You can push enemy teams out of their comfort zone by causing chaos. By not playing textbook WoW, you are going off script. This means hitting the enemy team with potential plays and strats they were not preparing for or expecting. Use this to your advantage and throw the enemy team in for a loop. Rewarding playstyle if it pays off. If you are able to pre-tremor of fear, which keeps your team aggressive enough to land the kill, or land a crucial kick, or hex which lets you take down someone, that is going to feel really rewarding, as opposed to, sitting back at a pillar 24/7 waiting for your team to eventually land the kill deep and dampening. Some cons for this playstyle. It is a very niche playstyle in the current meta. So in the current meta, most comps don't have a hyper aggressive playstyle, so you are going to be limited in what you can play and have success with. Easily countered by specific classes / comps. With the omnipresent warlock / mage combo, your playstyle will get hard countered by those classes, as they can make a million mistakes and still not be punished for it. You are easily punished if you make even one mistake, especially against, mages, warlocks, rogues, things like that. And that's because with the Resto Shamans right now, if you mess up one thing, and you're having a hard time recovering in a specific game, that momentum is going to snowball for the opposing team. And since Resto Shamans don't possess any instant recovery, options besides Link, but again, Spirit Link isn't really the best recovery tool in itself, then you're probably just going to lose the game because you can maybe lose all your pressure, and you'll just be in this endless cycle of, not being able to recover until you eventually just fall over and, the game is over. So there are going to be specific types of comps you're going to want to play with an aggressive shaman playstyle, and that is going to typically be a melee cleave. So you want to play with DPS that have the potential to dish out really high DPS that could end a game quickly and that are tanky as well. So that way it gives you, some room to do things like spam purge, doing damage, landing CC, with Hex or Shear. Some melee cleaves like TSG or Ret Warrior could play with a really aggressive playstyle. It may not be optimal in this meta, but it can definitely work. Next, we're going to be talking about the passive shaman. This playstyle has the shaman remaining pretty stationary at a pillar, making it hard for the enemy team to land CC. Positioning is key here. You do not want to give the enemy composition any windows where they can potentially land a scary swap or CC chain to secure the win. Making plays and assisting in kills is not your primary objective here. You are solely responsible for keeping your DPS alive, allowing them to secure the win, even if that means not doing much until 50% dampening. Some pros and cons. Pros. Easier to avoid CC. If played correctly, it should be super challenging for the enemy composition to land CC on you, as they will have to extend far to land CC, allowing them to be susceptible for a swap or be punished in some other way. High probability to win games even if you make a mistake. If you mess up, you can simply go back to your pillar or safe zone, so the enemy team cannot capitalize on the error, like missing a wind shear or missing a grounding, allowing some mistakes to go unnoticed. Less pressure on you to make plays. With this playstyle, you are not required to make plays to try and contribute to the win, allowing you to focus on healing, and this is also good fundamental practice for things like proper line of sight and cooldown management for opposing teams' burst cooldowns. Cons. With a playstyle like this, chances are you're playing with comps that are likely to extend the game into dampening, which means long and potentially boring games. Reliant on your teammates to secure the win. It's not the most exciting gameplay wise. And you have to buy lots and lots of mana drinks if you want to be competitive. What's good about this playstyle is that you can play practically any comp as long as you are playing with viable DPS options. Comps like Warrior Warlock, Shadow Priest Warlock, DKDH are going to be great options for you. This playstyle is also great in this current meta. And when it comes to positioning, make sure that your DPS act as a barrier between you and the opposing team. No matter what, it should be hard for them to break through that wall to get to you for CC or swaps. Be smart with your cooldowns, look for lots of drinks, and eventually if that magic number on dampening gets high enough, your DPS will secure the win, as long as you can get them there. The last playstyle is going to be the defensive shaman. This playstyle embodies aspects from both prior examples of the shaman playstyle, going from two extremes and finding some middle ground. The defensive shaman finds windows when you should be defensive or offensive, optimizing your ability to exploit both advantages of the aggressive and passive shaman. As a defensive shaman, you dictate the speed of which your team plays the game, by telling them when everyone should push for a kill and when everyone should retreat. You are the captain, and the success of your team can depend on whether or not you make the right call. I know this sounds like it has everything you need, however, just like the other two options, it has its pros and cons. Pros. You can make plays. During the correct window allows you to make plays to help contribute to the kill. You can punish opposing teams when pulling back. When playing defensive, you can force the opposing team to make a mistake by being too aggressive allowing you to exploit that and take advantage of the situation, punishing the opposing team. If played correctly, gets the benefits of the aggressive and passive Shaman playstyle. Some cons. It's tricky to learn in the beginning. It's hard at first to determine when you should pull back or when you should be aggressive. If you mess up the window when you need to pull back, your team can lose all of its pressure. Or if you push out when you shouldn't, you can throw the game for your team by trading too many cooldowns or just dying. Can get caught in a cycle of when you pull back that you are not able to get pressure again, and the enemy team's momentum snowballs out of control until you eventually lose. Any composition can be successful with this playstyle. However, in my experience, you'll want to play more setup based comps such as RPS and scatter, or other CC oriented comps. It is good to find your windows of when to be offensive or defensive as these comps, because chances are you won't kill with just straight up damage and no CC. Playing safe when you have no CC or defensives, and then playing super aggressive when you do is how you will get the most out of comps like RPS and scatter, and this playstyle. There you have it. Those are the general ways in which you should play Arena as an Iissham. I hope you find this useful. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and I will see you all next time.